We're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to make them both great again, greater than ever before. 15 years ago, Israel was the strongest lobby, if you want to use the word lobby, had the strongest representation of people like this. These are great people, Miriam. But the strongest there was, if you said something about a Jewish person or something about Israel that was bad, you were out of politics. I will be your defender, your protector, and I will be the best friend Jewish Americans have ever had in the White House. You know that. Thank you. But in all fairness, I already am. I think I already am. But look, this is the most important election in the history of the United States, and it's also the most important election in the history of Israel. The United States election is the most important election in the history of Israel. And then I became president and was the best president ever for the people of Israel and for Jewish people.
Hey, that's right, Scott. We have just learned that the president-elect Donald Trump is officially naming now Florida Senator Marco Rubio to be his Secretary of State. This is a pick that we've been talking about for about 24 hours now, but it hadn't been made official yet by the president-elect himself. We now have a statement from Trump saying that he looks forward to working with Marco to make America and the world safe and great again. Now, this is the second of the so-called Big Four positions that we have official names for, along with the Defense Secretary pick. That's Pete Hegseth, a combat veteran, and also a Fox and Friends weekend host. We're still waiting on the Treasury Secretary and the Attorney General to round out those Big Four positions, along with many other names. Scott, more when we have it. And one last note on Rubio, this will open a vacancy in the Florida Senate. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will have an opportunity to appoint someone to fill Marco Rubio's seat. There's been a lot of discussion already about who might take that seat, with the president's daughter-in-law, the president-elect's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, being at the center of a lot of those discussions, but much more to come on who might fill that seat. For now, we know Rubio is headed to Secretary of State. Scott.
Megan, thank you. Megan Casella in Washington with the latest.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the tremendous support of the American people, bipartisan support for our security and our quest for peace. And we've got our hands full with both security and the quest for peace. And it's a daunting task, but we know you'll have your support, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to talking about our challenges.
Well, you live in a challenging neighborhood.
It's a tough
one. But it is. But the Israeli-American relationship is one of the most important ones we have, and certainly our commitment to that partnership is bipartisan, and it should remain that way. And that's why I'm pleased the president's coming here in March to.
We look forward to receiving you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Please sit down.
Senator Rubio, will you call for ceasefire?
No, I will not.
Gaza?
On the contrary.
Rubio,
are you filming it?
Wait,
I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. So Hamas has stopped building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's horrifying. I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
What this president and his administration are doing in Israel is a tragic mistake. What they're doing is dangerous, and it betrays the commitment this nation has made to the right of a Jewish state to exist in peace. No people on earth want peace more than the people of Israel. No people have suffered more at the hands of this violence and this terrorism than the people of Israel. And they need America's support unconditionally. If I become president, that's exactly what they'll have.
Trump just announcing that our own Pete Hegseth will be his Secretary of Defense. Pete, of course, has been a host here at Fox for a number of years. He's an Army veteran where he served in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Trump saying, quote, Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. He's tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down. Wow, that is pretty cool. Gosh, we're gonna miss him at Fox, but that's a gain for the country.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has chosen Fox News host and military veteran Pete Hegseth as his new Secretary of Defense. Hegseth has been a strong Trump ally, backing him since the former president's 2016 campaign.
I'm not voting for a pastor-in-chief, I'm voting for a commander-in-chief.
Hegseth's military background includes service at Guantanamo Bay and the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan. He also led Vets for Freedom, a group that advocated for a larger U.S. troop presence in Iraq and Afghanistan. He also advocated for keeping the U.S.'s controversial Guantanamo Bay prison camp open. In 2019, he successfully lobbied Trump to pardon U.S. military officials accused of war crimes in Iraq. In the latest election cycle, Hegseth spoke on multiple podcasts, pushing for what he calls radical reforms and to rid the U.S. Army of wokeness.
You got to fire the chairman of Joint Chiefs, and you got to fire this. I mean, obviously, you're going to bring in a new Secretary of Defense, but any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever that was involved in any of the DEI woke, it's got to go.
He's also vocal about China as a rising military power and the possibility of a U.S. war with Beijing.
The only way they can implement a structure that serves them is by defeating us, and they know that. And they're ambitious enough, the leaders, Xi Jinping and others in the CCP, to put in a plan to do it.
Hegseth is also a staunch supporter of Israel.
What Western civilization represents today is an understanding that Zionism and Americanism are the front lines of Western civilization and freedom in our world.
While on a sponsored trip to Israel in 2018, he joined Israeli forces on an exclusive tour of Hamas tunnels near Gaza's border. And since Tel Aviv launched its genocidal war on Gaza, he has doubled down on his support for Israel by publicly dehumanizing Palestinians and backing Tel Aviv's relentless onslaught.
What Israel's about to do is bring hell down on Hamas if they do it right. I mean real war, not like TV war. Real war, stacking bodies, dead people. Because Bibi Netanyahu's not going to mess around here.
I know. Well, you got to clear out the population. Maybe Egypt could throw us a bone and help some of these Palestinians go over there for
plenty
a
of
second.
countries with plenty of space.
Trump's choice of a pro-Israel, aggressively anti-China Secretary of Defense suggests that his administration may move toward more foreign conflicts, not less, in spite of Trump's earlier claims that he would stop the wars.
Godspeed in your fight, sir. Thank you.
And today, Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, the Western Wall tunnels, so much of the old city. And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away. Because 1917 was a miracle, 1948 was a miracle, 1967 was a miracle, 2017, the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital was a miracle, and there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible. I don't know how it would happen. You don't know how it would happen, but I know that it could happen. That's all I know. And a step in that process, a step in every process, is the recognition that facts and activities on the ground truly matter. And that's why going and visiting Judea and Samaria, understanding that sovereignty, the very sovereignty of Israeli soil, Israeli cities, locations, is a critical next step to showing the world that this is the land for Jews and the land of Israel. And I believe, as was mentioned, he said you need to, what was mentioned is you need to buy the ticket. Don't just wish for 40 years to win the lottery, buy the ticket. I would submit to you, in light of the support you have in Washington, D.C., the support you have amongst patriotic Americans, amongst evangelical Christians, amongst believers, amongst Republicans, even amongst some Democrats who can barely say it anymore in Washington, buy the ticket, take your action, do what needs to be done here in Israel, because I truly believe this is a moment where America will have your back. You have Donald Trump in the White House. You have Mike Pence as vice president. You have Nikki Haley at the UN. You have true believers in Israel and America that have your back.